Cast away, I say after a few moments. Really? Tom Hanks? On the island? I don't get it. She pauses. This isn't going to make me sad, is it? Maybe. I don't know. I'm feeling a bit raw today, I guess. You're saying that Tom Hanks' character became enlightened through his experiences on the island? No. He just found himself thrust into the unadorned paradigm of the awakened being. Being alone on a desert island is a good metaphor for the awakened state. By getting stranded on that island, he has effectively died to his life, but without physically dying. Prior to the crash, the Tom Hanks character, Chuck Nolan, had everything we think of as a life. Friends, career, family, fiancé, as well as the countless other big and little things we take for granted until they're gone. It's all about context. Chuck Nolan, at the beginning of the movie, has a full, rich context. He fits in his world. He has a robust belief set. He is a part of things, and things are a part of him. And then, bam! His plane crashes, and it's all gone. Suddenly, simple survival is his only context. What does that leave? A man without a context. A man who is, in all respects, except physically, dead. A man with 24 hours a day with nothing to do but sleep, eat, and stare at the waves. The differences between him and the man he buries and eulogizes with such Zen-like succinctness are negligible. And that's what it's like to be enlightened? That's what the truth-realized state is, the absence of context. There's no artificial framework in which to say one thing is better or worse than another. He had his friend, she says. Wilson, the volleyball. I guess he had to go a little soft in the head to make that relationship work. Actually, that's a relationship I can understand. Yes, he had to go a little soft in the head to make it work. He had to bend, or else he'd break. He had to play a life-or-death game of make-believe. He had to believe the untrue and disbelieve the true. He had to perform an act of Orwellian doublethink. The power of holding two contradictory beliefs in one's mind simultaneously and accepting both of them. Chuck Nolan knows Wilson is just a volleyball, but he must believe Wilson is a fellow being because he cannot not have a fellow being in his life. Wilson provides the context Chuck can't live without. Without Wilson, Chuck will snap. But with Wilson, Chuck can bend. Before the plane crash, Chuck's context was reflected back to him by virtually everyone and everything in his very meaning-rich and clock-centric environment. After the plane crash, all that's gone, and there's just one thing left to reflect it. A volleyball with a bloody handprint that kind of looks like a face. It's not much, but it's all he needs to pretend he's not completely alone on an island in the middle of nowhere. That's what context is, and that's what it does. It tells us that we're not completely alone on an island in the middle of nowhere. It provides the illusion of a populated environment in which meaning and values can be perceived and applied, where it matters what we do and what choices we make. All context is artificial. There is no true context. Cast away, reduced to its allegorical structure and stripped of everything after Chuck's rescue, provides us with a powerful vehicle of philosophical inquiry. Chuck Nolan had his attachments severed, but he never wanted that. He's been forcibly liberated from a prison where he was perfectly content. Someone slipped the red pill into his drink, and he woke up outside a matrix he never knew he was in. All he wants is to get back in, but he can't. He's locked out of his own life, not really dead, and not really alive. Who wants to be cast permanently adrift on a shoreless sea? Who wants to spend the rest of their life tumbling through infinite space? No one, of course. What's the point of pointlessness? How can you want nothing? Words ascribed to the Buddha are often fraudulent, but there's one very clear exception, and it's the quotation at the beginning of this book. Truly, I have attained nothing from total enlightenment. That statement is like an optical illusion. It can be viewed two ways, the less obvious one the more correct. It's not so much that he didn't gain anything as that he did gain nothing. I see, says Lisa after we've discussed it for a while, but she doesn't. She doesn't see that what Chuck does to survive is what everyone does to survive. She doesn't see that she herself is alone on an island in the middle of nowhere, that she's gone a little soft in the head, and that her mind has reshaped itself to fit her needs, that her life is given shape and form and meaning only by her capacity for doublethink. She doesn't see that Chuck Nolan's soft-in-the-head relationship with a volleyball wasn't unique, that it's the same tactic employed by all people, all the time, in order to maintain the state of denial necessary to continue a meaningless existence in a fictional universe.